and welcome to the Camp Corner. Today's special guest is Aleah, someone who is going to be on our support staff this summer. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself, about her hiring process, and why she loves Lakeside so much. Let's go meet Aleah.
Tell us a little bit about you. Who is Aleah?
I am going to be a senior this year from Carroll. I work a lot. I was really excited to spend the whole summer with kids. I love interacting with kids. I have two little brothers, and they're a really big part of who I am. I spend a lot of time with my family.
Very cool.
That's really important to me. But
awesome. Yeah. Do you have any hidden talents?
I have a really good British accent when I've practiced. I'm a big theater kid, and so I like to do different accents for the little kids we have a acting studio in town, and I help out with the younger classes, and so they love it. I'll speak in a British accent for the little kids, so I'm kind of
that's so fun. Are you willing to share with us your British accent?
I might be, but I need to I would need something to say.
Okay. Well, can you just answer the next question in a British accent?
Okay, perfect. We'll try to do
cool.
that.
So my next question for you is, have you ever been to Lakeside before? And if not, have you been to another camp before?
I have not been to Lakeside before. I go to a summer camp in Panora, Iowa. It's a Catholic camp, and I've been going there since I was probably in 3rd or 4th grade.
Awesome! That was great. That was so I won't torture you and make you do it the rest of the time, but that was cool. So you've been to a different camp before. So what is it that you love about camp? Obviously, it doesn't have to be about Lakeside, but what's something that you just enjoy?
Right. Oh, I love summer camps. Probably my favorite thing is I love being out in God's creation. I think that is one of the best things in the world. A lot of families go on vacations and they go to cool places and amusement parks, but my family always goes hiking. Or we go to different state parks and stuff like that. So that's probably one of my favorite things is I just love being out in nature. I love the camp experience. I love campfires. We do bonfires in my yard all the time because I love being outside.
Very cool. Oh, cool. That's funny that you said it's being in God's creation. Not funny, but maybe ironic. But because it's part of our mission statement here is to find joy and purpose in God's creation. So that's really cool. So how did you come to the decision to apply for Lakeside this summer?
So I had a little bit of a crisis of faith. I, was really struggling, and I was trying to find something that was going to help me grow in my faith and help me find Jesus again. And I was approached by Pastor Cindy, who is the pastor of the church I go to here in Carroll. And she, just told me about this opportunity because I'd been hanging out with the middle school youth group and was spending time with a ton of middle schoolers. She was like, I think that this would be a really good opportunity for you. And I think it would, just give you something to do over the summer. And I was really, really excited to spend time with kiddos and grow in my faith.
Awesome. Yeah, Pastor Cindy is amazing. She was a reference for a lot of my applicants this year, so very cool. So you decided to apply, then can you tell us what the next steps looked like? How did your application process go? Were there any surprises on the application or anything unusual about your interview, anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, so applying was super duper easy, obviously. Pastor Cindy told me how, and You just go to the page and fill out a Google Doc or something like that. It was so it was super easy to apply. And I would say probably within not even a full week, I'd gotten an email from you asking to interview. So I appreciate the timeliness because I was so like nervous a little bit. And interviewing for Lakeside was probably my first like real interview that I'd ever done. And I appreciated that it was Christ-centered, and that the questions were, that faith played a big part in it. That's really important to me. I think I cried because some of the questions were like really like, I definitely cried because like the questions, they are centered around your faith. And I think that was really good and important. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, it was just a regular interview. I really appreciated your openness, and it felt welcoming right away. So
Awesome. That is the goal, is for camp in any way that we interact with anybody is for it to be welcoming. So I'm glad that you felt that. And I also just want to say how much I enjoyed interviewing you because you did get emotional, and I think it just reminded me a little bit of my hiring process. The first time I applied for camp was probably the most personal interview I've ever had for it. Was because of that faith aspect that you talked about, and it is an important part of what we do here. So thank you for your openness and your willingness to share then and also now. For anyone who is thinking about applying for Lakeside summer staff in the future, do you have any advice, suggestions, tips, or maybe just some words of encouragement for them?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity, and if you're thinking about applying, you definitely should. I think it's really important to recognize that faith aspect for sure. And I would recommend praying about it, before I walked into my interview, I prayed, and I asked God to like help me and to guide me, and I think that it worked out pretty well. So I would just definitely suggest focusing on that and be honest. I think one of my favorite questions was like, is there anything you're worried about going to camp? And he told me a lot of people say like bugs and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so.
Yeah, what great advice. Prayer is such a powerful thing. Anyone who's who worked for me last summer will tell you that I'm constantly like, pray, pray, pray.
Yeah.
So that's great advice. And what was the question you mentioned? Oh, worries. So
Yeah.
that's something I like to ask just because I like to know where people are at as far as coming to camp, because it's a big commitment, and you're not only committing to a job, but you're living at camp and you're spending so much energy and time with kids, which is exhausting at times, and
Yeah.
it's a new environment, a new experience for a lot of people. And so like you mentioned, a lot of times people are like, I'm a little worried about the bugs. I'm
Yeah.
a little worried about being away from my family for so long. That's another big one. And although I can't really solve all of those problems, sometimes it's nice just to know that other people are experiencing those concerns as well. So,
Right.
yeah, very helpful to be honest in that situation. So even though you didn't end up getting to work here this summer, has Lakeside had any effect on your faith?
Oh, for sure. I, recently started doing pen pals, and I've had fun with that. I just sent my thing in the mail because I got a little bit behind. But just even answering those questions made me like have to like look inside of myself, and come up with good, honest answers to those questions. I've also appreciated the Bible verses and, but yeah, definitely for sure. And I think just, having Pastor Cindy reach out to me with the opportunity, I think definitely has, yeah.
Yeah. Making connections, I think, is a big part of faith building. And for anyone who's watching who doesn't know kind of what we're talking about with the pen pals and things like that, we are still trying to provide ministry for our summer staff who would have been here this summer. And Aleah has signed up to have a pen pal for the summer. So she buddied up with another summer staffer. So that's what she was referring to. Cool, very cool. So as you know, in my interview with my staff, I end with some fun questions, and I decided that today maybe we could end with a fun question too.
Okay.
It's one that a friend of mine always uses. She used to work at camp too. So, would you rather be a doorknob or a blade of grass, and why?
My first thought is not a doorknob because of all of the germs. Like doorknobs are one of the most dirty things. So probably a blade of grass because I think, I don't know, they're green and green is my favorite color. There you go.
That's a good enough reason, I feel like. But I also think it's funny that you mentioned the germs. I think we're so conscious
Yeah.
of germs these days, but cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this and taking a little bit of time out of your day and just for your commitment to Lakeside.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
I look forward to seeing you next summer.
Yay!
Sure.
That's so exciting to hear. I can't wait. Awesome. Thanks again, Aleah.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you again, Aleah, for joining us today and for your commitment to Lakeside. Our next Camp Corner episode will be an aquatic adventure. You really don't want to miss it. Thank you for watching today's episode of Camp Corner. We'll see you next time. Bye.